Here's something that might be uncomfortable for you to hear. The letters behind your name are not the reason that patients choose you. And in many cases, they're not even helping because the average person has absolutely no idea what your credentials mean or how someone with your training even helps them get the outcome they are looking for. Saying I'm a naturopathic doctor or I'm a chiropractor doesn't move people any closer to getting the health outcome that they are looking for. They don't know what you learned in school. They don't understand your curriculum. They don't understand your ability to take all sorts of confounding factors and turn them into an incredible strategy that will deploy and deliver long term health. That's what you know because you went to school. This means that you can be one of the most qualified clinicians in your field and you can still struggle to build real income. It's the disconnect between these different ideas. And today I want to talk and explain to you exactly why this happens so you can undo the pattern in your own practice. More importantly, I want to show you 3 shifts that clinicians need to make if they want to build a thriving practice in a modern healthcare environment. If we haven't met before, my name is Dr. Meghan Walker. I am a former naturopathic doctor, a 2-time clinic founder, and the founder and CEO of Clinician Business Labs. Over the course of the past decade, I have had the opportunity to work with thousands of practitioners and clinic owners, helping them to build modern healthcare practices that they love. I'm also the co founder of High Validity and Health Hives, digital online platforms designed to help practitioners build visibility and credibility in a rapidly changing digital health environment. And across all of these areas of work, I've noticed the same pattern over and over again. Some of the most brilliant clinicians I know are incredibly busy, but they're not building the kind of predictable income or scalable practices they'd expect. They sometimes confuse busyness with a strong intentional business. And it almost always comes down to the same misunderstanding. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a few things: the hidden assumption most clinicians make about their credentials, why expertise alone no longer creates demand, and the identity shift that separates clinicians who stay busy from those who build real authority. And the truth is, building real authority actually becomes an asset in your broader practice and career. Because once you see this clearly, it changes how you think about your practice entirely. So let's get into the core misconceptions. One of the biggest misconceptions in healthcare is this idea that expertise automatically creates demand. In fact, we kind of hope that it does because we're so busy running around collecting credentials. We actually never stop to think or look at the metrics to determine whether or not this is delivering better patient outcome or really helping us grow our business. It feels logical, like it should. If I become the most qualified person in the room, then patients will definitely come. So clinicians do exactly what they are trained to do and what they feel most comfortable doing, and that is they accumulate credentials. Another certification, a training program, another specialization. You've seen it, you've probably done it, I've done it too. But credentials feel like a safe path to authority, but there's a hidden assumption in that strategy, and it's a big one. Not the authority, the assumption part. It assumes that the public actually understands how to use someone with your credentials to solve their problem. And I think that, I mean this so lovingly, and I fall into this trap so many times myself. It's a little bit arrogant to make that assumption. I recently saw someone post on LinkedIn, and I was really so proud of them, and I was conflicted for even having this moment. But they said, I've just passed my board exams. I'm practicing here. If you're looking for a naturopathic doctor in the Bay Area, like, here's my link. And there might be a few people who are looking for a naturopathic doctor in the Bay Area, but 90% of people are going to jump over this ad because they have absolutely no clue how a naturopathic doctor is actually going to serve their health. This is where we need to start to shift our thinking. A clinician with 15 years of experience or training and multiple certifications will end up still struggling to fill their practice if they don't understand that it is not the credentials that build the trust. Meanwhile, we've got someone over here who's done a weekend course. They have a polished website, a clear message, and they're fully booked. And it feels incredibly unfair. It's not because they're better at what they do, it's because they understand their market and their market understands them. When we live in an environment where health consumers are given more and more choice, which is the empowerment we say we want for them, and we do want it for them. It means there's more and more imperative for us to show up in a manner where we are packaged in our language and in our branding, and in, frankly, our respect for the environment in which consumers find themselves, that make us an obvious choice. Let's look at the market reality as it stands right now. I want you to think about how patients are actually searching for help. They're not even necessarily typing into Google anymore. They're definitely not typing in doctor with advanced training in mitochondrial dysfunction. They're typing things like, why am I exhausted all the time? Why can't I lose weight? What the heck is going on with my hormones at midlife? They're looking for someone who clearly understands their problem and can guide them towards a solution, an outcome. It doesn't mean you're promising the outcome. It means you're speaking to your experience and delivering it. It means you're not an expert in 8,000 things. It means you're an expert in a particular type of person and the problems and challenges they encounter. So when a clinician shows up and says, I'm a naturopathic doctor with advanced certification in functional medicine, that statement proves expertise, but it does not translate into meaning for the patient. And this is super critical for us to understand. Meanwhile, over here, someone is going to show up and they're going to say, I help high performing women fix their metabolism and get their energy back. And now the patient understands exactly what it is that they do. And suddenly the choice becomes obvious. And even if the second person has less training, this is why they are able to reach more people. Highly trained clinicians are going to continue to struggle to fill their practice if they can't figure out that gap. And someone far less trained than you is going to be overflowing in bookings. This is part of the equation. It's part of the sequence of how we help and reach more people. It's not because they are better. It's because they are clearer in their messaging. It's because they understand what signals trust. And they understand that it is ultimately trust, not credentials, that is going to build their practice. The thing about credentials that we need to understand is it establishes your expertise. It's really good when you jump on stage in a room full of your colleagues to be able to cite your credentials. But it is not the number one determining factor when we're speaking to the public. And the credentials themselves do nothing to cultivate demand, but they are table stakes for authority. They are not the engine that is going to drive a thriving practice. Demand is created through clarity, through perception, through trust. And this is where a personal brand becomes essential because healthcare is one of the most trust-dependent professions that exists. Patients are not simply buying information from you. That was very much 5 years ago, and they can acquire information online for free through large language models that immediately make them feel seen. A strong personal brand accelerates the trust required to do the strategic work with patients. It allows you to command higher prices, it improves retention, it drives referrals, and it enables you to be seen by Google and large language models like OpenAI and Claude. And interestingly, it can even improve compliance and outcome because people believe in the process they're entering. They believe that you are the ultimate authority in delivering the outcome that they are after. So having a strong personal brand has actually been tied to better patient outcomes. It's actually now part of the care. If this is resonating with you on any level, what I've done is I have linked a few resources for you below because the truth is you can't just develop a personal brand overnight. The truth is not all of us know how to do this. We go from being able to treat everything from being very clear on the type of individual and outcome that they need to receive. So I've created a series of resources. I've posted them below to help you gain clarity around what it is and who it is that you are treating and how you can move their care forward. So let's talk about why this matters so much now, because we can jump into all of the resources we want to start to shift the narrative. But the reality is when we're already busy clinicians, when we already feel overburdened, and frankly, if we're feeling a little bit uncomfortable with this conversation, we're going to put these things off. But the reality at this particular junction in time is that this isn't a project that you can defer or delay for 6 months from now. It's a project you need to attend to this moment. Because the sooner you look at your personal brand, the sooner you clean up your presence online, the faster you are going to be found. And that findability in today's climate and environment is something that compounds for you into the future. So here's why this conversation matters so much right now at this particular moment. For years, clinicians could get away ignoring this. Referrals carried their practice, local reputation was enough. But the next 5 years in healthcare are going to separate practitioners in a way we have never seen before. AI is reshaping search. Health information is everywhere. Patients are navigating in an ocean of competing voices. And in that environment, expertise that isn't translated into clarity becomes invisible. Or worse, it becomes questionable because the misinformation now spreads faster than real expertise. After nearly every post that I saw this morning when I popped into X, and I shouldn't do it because it is a toxic place, the first question almost under every post was, is this real? The trust factor is absolutely driving our economy right now. And if you are in a profession where trust is paramount to people's decision to move forward, you need to do everything in your power to accelerate your capacity to build trust online right now, which means your credentials do matter now more than ever, but they need to be paired with a brand that naturally looks modern, feels modern, and enables patients to instantly feel like they are being understood. In the absence of a strong personal brand at this juncture in time in 2026, someone less qualified but more visible will win your patient. When we were building out Health Hives and creating free SEO, LLM searchable profiles, and we have over 25,000 profiles available on our Health Hives platform for totally free. You can go check it out. Check out the link below because you can create your own profile. When we built those initial profiles, we surveyed over 485,000 online presences of practitioners. And we narrowed it down to the top 25,000. That meant that they had consistent reviews, that meant that their website wasn't built in 1994, that it met certain criteria in terms of searchability and functionality, that they had a strong online presence, that their online architecture matched the moment. It meant that over 400,000 practitioners with ongoing active practices were left off of our initial list because they didn't meet the basic qualifications of personal brand expertise. It means most people in our industry right now are actually sitting online invisible. This is not a few $100s you can afford to save. This is literally the rest of your practice. If we're going to look at this realistically, and we're going to really enable you to step in to this next layer of professionalism, if we're going to put up our hand and say, listen, I'm ready to go pro, and that is what is demanded in 2026 in the online space, it's going to require an identity shift. This is the identity shift clinicians need to make. You're not just a practitioner. You are the translator of your expertise, and you are the only one who can put it out there. Your job is not only to understand complex health problems, your job is to help the public understand how you solve them. The bridge between expertise and understanding is what creates demand, and demand is what turns a busy practice into a predictable one. Because activity is not the same as income. And marketing without clarity creates a lot of activity, but very little traction. Lots of activity, very little traction. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Credentials prove you're qualified, but your personal brand proves you are the right choice.